we believe that the Christians in Goa are equal citizens of this country, just as any other citizen, any other religion, of any other religion in this country. This negative propaganda is what I want to defeat. I want the Christians in Goa, I want the Christians all across India to understand that you are equally responsible for nation building. And the propaganda against the BJP and the RSS, for whatever reasons you believe, if you have those questions, then I'm the bridge to deal with the problems that you have, long as those problems are rational, long as those problems are legal, as long as those problems are logical.
Very good evening, namaste, and welcome to Citti Media. Today, we have the privilege of breaking the first exclusive story on Citti with Mr. Savio Rodrigues. We have been analyzing Goa elections for the last month or so, and he was here as a journalist. You know him as a news anchor, you know him as an author, you know him as a political analyst. Today, he's announced his decision to join the BJP. Mr. Rodrigues, or should I call Savio G now? Thank you so much for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you again. First of all, very hearty congratulations.
Thank you, Sharon. I'm humbled, and I'm humbled by the encouragement and the prayers of your viewers. The reason I chose Citti Media was because they have always been very encouraging to my efforts. And it's only right that I come and tell you exclusively, Sharon, because you've been one of the most persistent and tenacious gentlemen who've been, encouraging me to say, no, sir, you have to get into politics. And I truly appreciate that.
I'm really humbled, and thank you so much for that. But generally people tend to lose the image that they professionally have once they join politics. But since you've also upheld your promise of giving us the first exclusive interview, I think it's a very good start. But it makes me ask you, what made you take this decision at this moment, at this critical juncture, that too?
So, over the last 11 years, we've been growing our brand, which is the Goa Chronicle brand. And over the last 4 years, it's done tremendously well in Goa, in the national spaces, as well as internationally. And I was definitely, growing in respectability around the country and credibility for our kind of journalism.
Right.
However, what I felt necessary was that there was a need for a political thought leadership that needed to have emerged, especially from Goa, because Goa needs young political leaders that can work towards integrating the nationalistic spirit from the people of Goa with the nationalistic spirit that exists across India as well. And I've always been somebody who's followed Mr. Parrikar, and Mr. Parrikar has been my mentor, and he had a vision for Goa. I feel that I need to contribute to that now that there is an opportunity for me to actually work on that. So when I was asked by people within the BJP, would I be interested in wanting to be a part of the election aspects of BJP or contribute to BJP as a party in Goa and as at a national level, I said yes, I could consider it, and let me give it a thought, and let me see how I can bring my expertise, my skills to make BJP a far more stronger party in the state as well as at a national level. So that was one reason why. The second reason being, I think coming from the Indian Christian community, I think there is certainly a lack of leadership from the Indian Christian community within the BJP and in political discourse across India, which is, say, in parliament or in assemblies around the country. So I want to start off a movement that will have good leadership coming out from the Indian Christian community who are nationalistic in their approach to be able to contribute to nation building through the electoral processes, through being political and social workers. So that's the other reason why I wanted to. And one of the reasons is Goa has contributed a lot to such wonderful stalwarts coming from all communities, the Hindu community, the Christian community, the Muslim community. And I think it's important that there are certain representations that happen across communities. And when they start thinking more like Indians rather than people within their community. So what I want to do is be the bridge that is there between a Christian and the nationalistic idea of India, which needs to be encouraged, which needs to be taken forward. I want to work with people across communities to stir the spirit towards nationalism.
Right. Well, very good luck with that, and we will be, of course, in touch with you and see what happens in the future too.
Sure.
But you also tweeted saying that your ambition now and your aim is Mission Sunset. So for our viewers who may not be aware, can you tell us what this is all about?
So Salset is one of the most vibrant and one of the most influential talukas in the whole of Goa. There are 8 constituencies that exist in Salset, and they are highly influential because some of the real competitive political leaders over the past years have come from the Salset constituencies. More importantly, the Salset constituency also has a very large balance of Christian voters vis-a-vis Hindu voters or any other religion voters. So a lot of the influence that exists in Salset, for example, say 2 or 3 constituencies that exist in Salset, Valin, Benaulim, Navilin, which are very strong Christian voters. The BJP over a long period of time has never fielded any candidate in any of these constituencies. They've always allowed for an independent with BJP support to actually contest, because the general belief is that somebody, a Christian on a BJP ticket would never win. Because there is a fear psychosis, there is a propaganda around the fact that, BJP is anti-Christian, anti-church, all those kind of things. And that's what I'm looking at breaking. Because I don't believe, having interacted with Prime Minister Modi, having interacted with senior leaders of the BJP, that they are anti-Christian in any form.
Right. Now, clearly, the party has a certain agenda. It has a roadmap for the 2022 elections. But individually, you bring in a lot of different aspects that could contribute to the party and the people of Goa. So if in order of precedence, what would you say you represent and bring to the people of Goa? And what is the local demand from leaders like you there?
See, one of the major things that we need to understand is that Goa is a very vibrant state, and Goa has a lot of potential as far as its youth is concerned, as far as its women is concerned, and as far as the opportunities to do things within the creative zone of entrepreneurship, right? So I think we need to focus a lot on that. We need to focus on sectors that are absolutely imperative to Goa. We don't need to turn Goa into another city. That's not what Goa ought to be. What we need to work on Goa is to look at the strengths of Goa, and around that design plans and ideas that help us take Goa forward. So the constituency that I'm looking at, which is actually the constituency of my ancestors, and my parents lived there. And I'm hoping that the BJP would say yes to giving me that constituency. We will know in a couple of days. I've already formulated a plan that when I do go out to the people and when I have this large meeting that I'm planning, I'm actually going to do a PowerPoint presentation on the various different aspects that constituency can actually be better. Right down from a daily job, working with so I work with a lot of people in the investor markets. I work with people who are in startups. I work with people who have a lot of ideas. So when they have realized that Savio is going to contest in a constituency, and they know my mental frame, which is I'm more an ecocentric developer propagator, I've had somebody who's come in with a plan that says, Savio, if you can get housewives in your constituency to help us make something as simple as a product that can be made from home, we will ensure that they can get minimum 500 rupees per day. By just creating that kind of Ayurvedic product that we want by sitting at home.
Right.
I have another person who's come up to me saying, Savio, if there are about 100 homes that are vacant, because most of these houses in the constituency that I am, because people live abroad or travel, work on the ship, we could actually make those houses economical in terms of putting them onto a platform like homestays or of that concept, and make that economical. See, so I come from a business background. My journalism and my business mind is absolutely in sync with each other. So I want to be able to ensure that the people in my constituency are empowered. I want the women to be empowered. I want the youth to be empowered. I don't want them to be people who rely on getting doles from political parties to say that, okay, you vote for us, then you get a dole. I don't want you to vote for me if I'm giving you something free.
Right. It's very interesting that you bring this up.
Be empowered.
Right. Because in the last session that we did, we were discussing about the freebies that, Delhi-based parties like the Aam Aadmi Party and even Trinamool Congress for that matter are offering. And we often tend to look at elections and electoral constituents for that matter from a point of condescension almost, as if the parties know what the people want and not vice versa. Right now, the people themselves coming to you and saying that, no, we want to empower the women and we don't want any freebies from these parties means that it's a very symbolic thing.
Yes, I think, a lot of people that I have spoken to, like I said, even the last time, probably 30% of the people are okay with freebies, but about 70 to 75% or more are not okay with freebies. They want to be empowered. So for me, my constituency, my state, is about using simple ideas to get them to be empowered. There is nothing like empowerment. You see, for example, there is another friend of mine who's basically into Gaushalas and Gaushala foundations, and he's also worked out a deal saying that, listen, if you get elected, or even if you don't get elected, in the constituency that you're looking at, because it's so idyllic, because it's a village setting, can we have Gaushalas, or can we get, the cow dung from those Gaushalas that we can use for our scientific studies and things like that? So there is a lot of things that can be done. For example, I want to set up a hospital over there, a 550-bedded hospital. I want to be able to convert homes that are not utilized into homestays. I want to be able to convert our ponds into tourism attraction, our lake into tourism attraction.
Right. I also want to ask a few questions.
So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is, I'm not here to tell you whether the other guy is good or bad. That's not my job. I'm here to tell you that this is what I can do for the constituency I'm looking at. And why it's important is because if you have a vision to empower people, you see, I don't come from a need of wanting more. I'm not getting into politics because I want to earn more money. I already have that. What I'm looking at is an ability to show people that, listen, there are two things more important in life: is empowerment of yourself as an individual, as a youth, as a woman. And the most important other thing is, what is your contribution to the nation? So today, while there is a lot of Christians in the constituencies that I'm looking at, and few of the so-called leaders have been telling me, they will reject you. I don't think they'll reject me. I don't think the people in my constituencies will reject me if they understand that I am only trying to be the bridge towards what they don't have to what they have. That's the difference.
Right.
I don't want anything for them. I will do it irrespective whether they elect me or not. The point is, at some point of time, I will break through to them. And I'm telling you, my people will not let me down.
Right. So you do understand a lot of the underpinnings of Goan culture and how the average Goan thinks. And I think that will give you a very big home advantage compared to the other parties, naturally, of course. I'm also supposed to ask you a few popular questions which you have not had the time to answer on social media. First of all, how will Savio Rodriguez's role in Goan politics be? Will it be intellectual, or will it be electoral, or will it be hybrid?
So essentially, I see myself as being an intellectual politician with a certain amount of assertiveness that is required to ensure that the needs of the people of Goa and needs of the people of the country are addressed. Uh, Politicians, come, at least I'll tell you what I think of some of the politicians. Some of the politicians believe in the concept of feeding people the fish, instead of teaching them how to fish. I don't come from the concept of feeding you the fish. If you ask any of my team members who work with me in the Goa Chronicle or in any of the other companies, the first thing I do, metaphorically speaking, is I take them and throw them in a swimming pool, metaphorically. So what I do is I put them in the heart of the job, and then they'll be screaming and shouting and yelling and wanting to leave the job and saying, we don't want to work with you. And then when their sensibility comes back, they realize, oh my God, this guy was actually teaching us to swim, and he just threw us in the deep end of the pool. So that's my nature. I don't believe that people should be fed. I'm not looking at creating slaves to vote for me. I'm looking at creating intellectual, intelligent Indians, Goans, my people, to understand that collectively we can make Goa better, we can make India better. I don't need slaves.
Right.
I don't have slaves in my team. I will never have slaves as far as politics is concerned.
Speaking about Goa Chronicle, what happens to journalism now?
Well, nothing happens to journalism. Personally, I don't think my vocation or my profession ever changes. Simply because if a person was a lawyer or a doctor, for that matter, does he give up his practice for being that?
No, but there are challenges. You can't be the same Savio that you are right now.
I will be exactly the same, Sam.
Right.
Exactly the same.
Because that's a party line.
Well, the party will understand that my line is always in the interest of the party and always in the interest of the country. They will always know, and they know that. One of the reasons why I'm coming into the party is because they know that about. They know that this guy will be as strict as a ramrod. He won't bend for anything. But having said that, the most important thing is, what was journalism for me? Journalism was never about the idea of a business. It was a vocation. I took up to journalism because I wanted to go about getting people informed about what is right and what is wrong and what is propaganda and what is not. Now, irrespective of me being in the BJP, I'm the same guy who can tell the guy in BJP if he's wrong, that you're wrong. And I have no qualm saying that. If there is one quality that has always been admired by many people within the BJP and non-BJP, is this guy will tell you exactly what he feels. Right? So I don't think I will change, number one. Number two is, I believe journalism is my water, okay? It is a necessity for me to write, to explain myself, to talk about issues that are interests of the country. For me, while I like BJP and I am joining the BJP, for me, India is above any political party. And the time I realize that there is something wrong, just like I would address an issue in the family, I will address it with the family of BJP as well. And knowing my temperament, they tend to agree to what I'm saying, because I won't lie when it comes to India.
Right. And what can you tell us about your invocation tomorrow? Who are expected there, and what's the entire arrangement?
Oh no, we're keeping it a very, very small affair. Obviously, the party leaders will be there. I'm not a shusha kind of guy. I rather let my work talk than rather have this great set of people coming in, or large crowds. That will eventually come. The most important thing is what I'm finding very, very I could say providence given. It's more like providence. Is I'm a boy who grew up in the Middle East. I had a calling to come back to India, and then I had a calling, or rather a challenge by Mr. Parikar, which was ingrained in my brain, in my head in 2002, and then 2010 that thought germinated, and I came into Goa. Never in my life would I think that I would have the probability of contesting in the constituency that belongs to my ancestors. So normally, my mother is a little conservative when it comes to my political intent.
Right.
She's aware of it, but she's conservative. So when I told her that I could be getting the ticket from our ancestors' based constituency, she seemed to have been extremely pleased about it. And she said, my prayers have been answered. In its time, you do good for your constituency, our constituency. This is our village. These are our people. Okay. So my mother comes from this thought where many people come to our home, where she helps them. She's considered to be one of these soft-spoken, nice ladies who people come, to pray for, to console, to counsel whenever they are in trouble. So my mom says, now, at least now, I can listen to them and my son can go and solve their problems. If there are any problems that are required, now my son will be here to solve their problems. Otherwise, he's always traveling out of Goa.
Right. Well, and as far as the opposition is concerned, how would you say the BJP is looking right now in terms of tackling on several issues and also in terms of its electoral performance in the months ahead?
See, BJP, of course, is facing an uphill task. They're facing an anti-incumbency, being in power for the last 10 years. There are certain critical issues that some people have raised about the BJP. And of course, you have very, very strong political parties. One is being the Congress and the Goa Forward Party alliance that they have. You have the strong moves made by the Aam Aadmi Party. And then you have the political tourist that's come in, which is the Trinamool Congress Party, the Mamata Banerjee. For me, I think, I'm as somebody who's getting into politics, is concentrating on his constituency. I don't see them as the problem. To me, they are doing what they're supposed to do as a political party. They will lie, they will offer freebies, and they will speak some element of truth. Some, not all. But for me, the most important thing is to win the people. My focus is only going to be what is it that I and the BJP together can deliver for the people in my constituency? What can I do as an individual? And what could I get BJP as a government at the state and at the center to do within my constituency? And that's my focus. I believe in positive politics, and that's the focus I'm going to take forward. Well, people can be negative, and they're most welcome to be negative. Some people have already started saying, oh, this guy is a BJP lapdog, he's so-and-so. And well, I can't stop you from saying that. It's not going to make any difference to me. What's really going to matter is today, BJP and Savio are willing to take a political decision to put him in the Salsett constituency, which BJP has never, ever done before with a Christian face from the BJP.
Right.
And because we believe that the Christians in Goa are equal citizens of this country, just as any other citizen, any other religion, of any other religion in this country. This negative propaganda is what I want to defeat. I want the Christians in Goa, I want the Christians all across India to understand that you are equally responsible for nation building. And the propaganda against the BJP and the RSS, for whatever reasons you believe in, if you have those questions, then I'm the bridge to deal with the problems that you have, long as those problems are rational, long as those problems are legal, as long as those problems are logical. Hearsay and fear psychosis, I can't help you with. You can go to a psychiatrist for that. But for any truth and any reality, I'm here to help you.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure. And thank you again for the privilege that you've given us for breaking the story first.
My pleasure.
Very good luck to your new innings. And I know it's going to get really hectic from now on, but I hope you can again join us for a discussion on what's happening in Goa.
Done. Thank you, Sean. God bless you.
Thank you so much. And again, very good luck.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.